Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be bringing you my Bookoplathon TBR. So to start, what is the Bookoplathon? It is basically a month-long reading challenge that follows Becca from Becca in the Books TBR game Bookopoly. You roll the dice, you get certain prompts, you fill them out, or you roll as you go. There's a lot of different ways to participate. I will link her announcement video down below. And I decided to participate. As you know, I'm kind of just getting back into BookTube again. It's been a very weird year. I've been reading a lot, just not really inspired to do any content, so we're trying to come back. We'll see how this works out. Fortunately, unfortunately, my TBR has not worked out the way I had hoped. If you had followed me for a while, or you knew from the last round of Bookoplathon that I actually participated in 2020, you will know I do not have good luck with dice rolls. I do not have good luck in general, but specifically, I don't have good luck in dice rolls. So if you ever need to play D&D with somebody, be careful. If you want me as a DM, I will help you out every step of the way because I suck at rolling die. And if you want me as your teammate, you will have to compensate for the fact I cannot roll a good roll to save my life. So, without further ado, let's get into my rolls. Now, to start with, I thought I would do 5 rolls initially, where I would go through and pick the 5 books that I really wanted to read to, to fit those prompts. And, the rule with Bookoplathon is if you roll doubles, you just roll again, you add another roll on. And I thought, how many times could that happen? Well, to be frank, it happened 10 times, so let's just get into it. All right, hello, I am ready to go. I've got my little ring here, is going to be my little marker for this round, and I don't have dice right now, so we are going to use random dice generator, whatever. And I'm going to do 5 rolls, and we are going to go from there. Starting off with doubles. Hopefully you saw that. Not great for me. 1, 2, 3, 4. I started on go. My first roll right out the gate is a double. I should have known as soon as that happened that I was in for a rough ride. And I landed on TBR Vet. And going through my books and figuring out what I wanted to read for this, I decided to pick up Final Girls by Riley Sager. This is a book that I have started multiple times. It's just typically right when I'm on the, the waning edge of a thriller binge, so I just don't really get far into it. I do have high hopes to read a lot of Riley Sager's backlist by the end of the year. In a perfect world, I would read all of the books that are published out currently right now to catch up and give my thoughts on them as they go, because I know that my fingers crossed, I'm going to love Lock Every Door and Home Before Dark, but I don't know how I'm going to feel about the rest of the work. So we'll see. But this is the first book on my TBR for this month. Great. Next roll. Are you kidding me? Okay. 10. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so this is published or set in the year 2020, I believe. To double check what that one means. And so my next roll, another double. I landed on the 2020 published and or set in the era of, and so I picked up a short story collection that I've been wanting to read for a while, and that is The Hidden Girl and Other Stories by Ken Liu. I am really excited to finally pick this book up. It is a book that I have been meaning to read since it came out in 2020, but we're gonna just not judge me on that. But we're not gonna judge too harshly. So this is book number 2. Okay, 11. I am really making my way across this board quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11. Autumn. Let me slide this around now. Now, third roll, I landed on Autumn. This is just a book that fits the autumn prompt, whether it's colors, vibe, feeling, kind of whatever it means to you. I immediately went to colors and picked out a book that has reddish undertones, and it is going to be Bad Men by John Connolly. This cover horrifies me. I don't like the way I feel like I can see a face in this, but I know that that's part of it. John Connolly is an author that I've heard of a while, and I've recently started getting into his Charlie Parker supernatural thriller private detective series, and this book was there at the library and I picked it up thinking it was part of that series. It's not. It seems like it's a standalone, but I really love supernatural elements in a lot of things, so I'm hoping to give it a try for my autumn prompt. Oops. Okay, 8 and another double. That's totally fine. I love this for me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Community shelf. I put only 10 in here just because I didn't have any more to think of. Oh, 5-star prediction. Now the next prompt. Well, I landed on community shelf. So I had to go through and pick out some different prompts from my little jar, and I ended up picking out a 5-star prediction. And so this is one of 2 spots that I'm allowing to be open to a mood read potentially. I do have 2 books I'm leaning towards, but I don't want to set in stone too quickly, and allow myself a little bit of grace, a little bit of leeway should I be getting towards the end of the month and I just need a shorter book because I have a hefty TBR. And so the 2 books that I have currently on my 5-star prediction list are The Daughter of the Moon Goddess and The Final Strife. These are both 2022 releases, fantastical, and they are 2 books I have heard nothing but great things about, and 2 books I have been meaning to read all year. So it feels like now is the best time to pick them up. Not sure which one I'm leaning towards in the moment, but these are the 2 that I'm likely going to read for this 5-star prediction prompt. And just hope that it all falls to place and it's all fine. This is my last, like, main roll. And 11. TBR Vet. So, what would have been my last and final roll had I not rolled all those doubles, I landed on TBR Vet once again. I really whipped around that board very, very quickly this time around. And instead of picking a book for this prompt, because I didn't really want to pick another TBR Vet, I decided that my next roll I would do 2 books for it. Okay. It's another one. Cool, cool. 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A pole pick. Okay. So my next roll, another double, I landed on pole pick. So I ended up picking a couple of different first in fantasy series that I had rented from the library and put it out on the Discord to pick which 2 I would read. And by a long shot, and by long shot I mean with 33 votes, that was Graceling by Kristen Kishore. So I will be starting the Graceland series. And in a very, very close second with 33 votes, as of right now recording this, was The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. Those are 2 series that I've been meaning to kind of start and read for a while. I've heard like a lot of different things about them. Kind of want to read them for myself. And they happen to have a lot of the series at my library, so I picked them all up. I love having a completed set because I always think if I really love a book, I want to just keep reading. So this is kind of how it works out for me. So those are my prompts for 5 and 6. Now we're still getting into all of the doubles that I rolled to finish out my TBR. Okay. Let me add that to the list. 6. Favorite setting. Roll number 7. Another double. I landed on my favorite setting. And for this, it is a horror. It's going to be a horror, but I'm leaving it to the side for right now because it ties into a later prompt. 8. Features a romance. Roll number 8. I landed on features a romance. What better thing than features a romance than a historical romance? I love historical romance. It's one of my favorite genres, and I needed something a little bit lighter to be on this TBR. So I decided to read How to Catch a Wicked Viscount by Amy Rose Bennett. So that's my features a romance prompt. third person. Okay. So my 9th roll, I landed on third person POV, and this is another one that I have off to the side for right now, and we'll circle back around. Okay, and I don't want to jinx it, but this is technically my last roll. I thought using an actual app would make my luck a little bit better, but clearly that's not the case. Chance card. Chance book. I have 8 in here this time because I just didn't have the time. Dragon Age. Blue Wraith. So skipping 9 for right now, we're moving right along into the 10th roll, which should be theoretically my final roll. However, I rolled another double. Landed on chance, picked out Blue Wraith, part of the Dragon Age comics, which follows Fenris, who is one of my favorite companions to ever exist in a video game, point blank, from the Dragon Age 2 series and the Dragon Age video game series. I love him. I can't wait to read this comic, so I was super happy that this was one that was picked out, because it was one of the only ones that were shorter. For some reason, I just put a bunch of chunky fantasies in there, which I can't believe I did, but thankfully, while my dice rolling skills are lacking, the fates really looked out for me and helped me pick Blue Wraith. Okay, let's roll the dice again. Okay. Are you joking me? Am I on TBR Vet again? So since I rolled a double for my 10th roll, had to continue on and do 11. And once again, I am around the board and landed for the 3rd time this game on TBR Vet. This game is really trying to tell me something, but here's the thing. I have a lot of fantasy already on this TBR, so why not add another one? And why not add another series to start that I've been meaning to read for what feels like 100 years, and that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Again, another library book, because every time I go to the library, I go to the fantasy sci-fi section and see if there's any completed series that I can check out all in one go. They happen to have quite a few this last time, so this is another book that I'm going to be reading, Red Rising. Okay, and eventually I'll be able to stop rolling here. But not today. Dice Roll Roulette. Okay, so I had to take a quick break to understand what Dice Roll Roulette was, because I wasn't paying attention when she was talking about it. So it's basically just rolling the dice and finding a book that fits that page number. I have 10. Between 475 and 524 pages. Great. Here's the thing, do you think this counts as another double? Because part of me thinks it should. Because I just want to punish myself. I'm a glutton for punishment. What are you gonna do? So, since we still have another, 11 was a double, 10 was a double, I've got a couple more rolls to do. My 12th roll, I landed on Dice Roulette. So this is the type of prompt where you have to roll the dice again, and whatever you land on equals the page number you have to read a book for. So that's not really a great way to explain it, but we're just gonna cycle past that. So I rolled, shockingly, another double with 2 5s, which equals 10. So I have to read a book between 475 pages and 524. Luckily, unluckily, I have a ton of books that fit that page length because I read a lot of fantasy books. However, this is going to be my second book that is a mood read for me, because I want to allow myself the freedom to choose whatever book I kind of want in the moment. So the 3 that I'm kind of choosing between is the 2021 The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, the beginning of a fantasy series, a 2022 release of The Amber Crown by J.C. Bedford. This is that length, right? Ooh, barely the length. Or A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. So again, this is going to be a mood read. I feel like allowing 2 of them to be a mood read, I feel like is okay, considering I have, a ton of books on my TBR. Now, because I rolled a double on this Dice Roulette, I felt like it was only fair to add another roll to my already hefty TBR. And that's kind of why I'm allowing myself 2 mood reads to kind of make up for the extra roll that probably didn't necessarily need to be there, but it is what it is. All right, dice roll roulette. Whoa. 2. Pull. Oh. That is a ginormous FU to me. Okay. So, for my roll number 13, got another double. But I did also get my second pull pick of the game. So this is where I put down a list of 3 horror books that I have been wanting to read for a while, and they all have houses on them, and I thought it would be a fun little challenge. So the first was Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey, The Lost Village by Camilla Sten, and The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates. Now, gothic horror is one of my favorite genres. Arguably, it might actually be my ultimate favorite genre because I am never not in the mood to read a gothic horror. And so this was a really, really tough one on the poll because they were all within like 1 or 2 votes of each other throughout the entire time. Like, Just Like Home initially led, and then The Lost Village was leading for a bit, and then The Haunting of Ashburn House has been ahead by 1 or 2 votes for the last couple of days. So with that, I am going to end up reading The Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates because this has 28 votes. However, because The Lost Village has 25 votes, I thought I would try to find a way to include it in my TBR. And so this is going to be the prompt that I said I was skipping over, which was my favorite setting, because my favorite setting is gothic horror, and this is set in a sort of abandoned haunted village. So this is going to be the prompt that I skipped. And the other prompt I skipped, which is 3rd-person point of view, I'm going to add in The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. This is another type of horror. Also has a house on the cover because I'm doing a separate vlog of these books with the houses on them because I want to. So yeah, those are the ones that I missed. And as a spoiler alert, Just Like Home's also getting on my next prompt, so let's roll that dice again. Yeah, I'm, you know, in for a penny, in for a pound. Here we go. That's how I feel. 4. Favorite trope. Okay, that's fair. So the next roll I got was favorite trope. And now this was a really tough one for me because I have quite a few favorite tropes. I love found family, I love heists, I love like reluctant allies, and I also love older heroes and like familial relationships. And so I'm putting on another chunky fantasy with The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Shue. This is kind of following a prophesized one who isn't necessarily doing the best and kind of teams up with some people who are not necessarily like super excited to be teamed up with him, and a couple of them are a little bit older or, you know, quote unquote like faded heroes. And so I feel like this is going to hit a lot of things that I want. This cover is stunning. This is another 2022 release that I really, really wanted to read, so I'm just trying to knock as many of them out as I can at the, you know, as the year is fading on. Oh, and it's not a double. And that is a letter. So I found this letter wheel. I think it'll work fine. Oops, spin. There we go. S. Now, let's see my final roll. Thankfully, we made it. We're here together. We did it. We powered through, and I landed on letter. So this was to do a kind of random letter generator, and you had to read a book that's like a book that has a title that starts with that letter or the author's name that starts with that letter. And I landed on S. And while I was figuring out what I wanted to do, I have obviously quite a few options to choose. When my second poll prompt went super close, I thought Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey would be the perfect one to fit on here. So now I have 4 books for a horror haunted house type of vlog to do in the middle of the rest of my Bookoplathon TBR. It's a hefty one. It's hefty. It's 15 books, and they are not small. They are not small. I'm very curious to see what like my average page length would be, because I'm assuming it's probably close to 300 per book. So I've got a lot of reading to do. I can't really waste any time, and I have to average 4 books per week. As there are 7 days in a week, that might be difficult because I work full time. But we'll see. Maybe I'll be able to just like really power through a ton of them, but like, I don't know, we'll see. But that is my TBR for Bookoplathon and my September TBR. Let me know in the comments below if you read any of these books. If you have just as bad of luck as I do with dice rolling, I do not understand why it is so difficult for me, but you know, I will carry that cross. It is what it is. But let me know if you're participating in the Becca's Bookoplathon for September, and if we're reading any of the same books. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I hope you have a fantastic day.